Wildbolt Storm in Pokemon Go has been added, and it is on the Thundurus Therian form Pokemon, which means more than likely it's going to be hopefully a better move. And we're going to check out today how does it do for PvP and how does it do as an attacker in Pokemon Go. So let's check it out. So welcome to the Trainer Club. Here we go. How do you guys feel about these Therian form Pokemon coming back again in Pokemon Go? Hopefully next the Incarnate form is not coming back because we do not want to see that Pokemon again, in my opinion. I mean, they're kind of cool shinies, they look cool, but are they the most effective? Hopefully these new moves on these Pokemon will prevail. So as far as the Tornadus, unfortunately that Pokemon has to compete against Rayquaza with Dragon Ascent, and there's absolutely no way any Pokemon is competing against a Rayquaza. So there's no reason for us to go into that video, but this Pokemon has a little bit more leeway to be able to go with it. So the Wildbolt Storm is going to do 140 damage when PvE, so in a combat scenario. And then as far as a PvP scenario, it does 60 damage, and then it lowers the opponent's attack, which is a good thing to have when you're going after a Pokemon, because lowering the opponent's attack will make it more viable to stand some attacks against those. Okay, so with that said, let's check out the Thundurus Therian form in Pokemon Go and see how its stats stack up, and then let's get into the best of the best. So this Pokemon is going to be an electric and a flying type Pokemon. It maxes out at 4,137. It has an attack of 295, which is actually pretty impressive, a defense of 161, and a stamina of 188. And as far as its weakness, it has two that we saw in the counter guide, which is going to be ice as well as rock, and it's going to resist bug, fighting, flying, grass, ground, as well as steel. So decent resistances, only two weaknesses, which is potentially good there. And then as far as its moveset, so it's going to get Bite and Volt Switch for its quick moves, and then its charge moves are going to be Thunderbolt, it gets Thunder, it's going to get Sludge Wave, Focus Blast, and then obviously Wildbolt Storm. And let's not forget that the shiny I think looks pretty cool, and I think it's a cool looking kind of genie electric Pokemon in general. What do you guys think? Now let's get into the best of the best section where we're going to start analyzing this Pokemon. So let's see how Wildbolt Storm does in comparison to Thunder and Thunderbolt. And just a reminder that Wild Charge is a very powerful electric move in the game, one of the top moves for most of these Pokemon. So does Wildbolt Storm stack up against this? And obviously we have to take into account that Zekrom now gets Fusion Bolt as well, which is a very powerful move. So let's see where it stacks up against itself, and then we'll compare it to the electric category, and then we'll make it its way into PvP. The Wildbolt Storm on the Thundurus Therian form is going to be the top producing move for it at 41.94, which is only about 2 points above Thunderbolt and Volt Switch. Then we have the Bite combination there, and then if you want to see it with Thunder, it's at 34. So obviously Thunderbolt is the more premier move here, but more recently now, Wildbolt Storm has taken over. This Pokemon also does get Focus Blast at 33.3. Although it does get Bite and it does get Focus Blast, unfortunately neither of these moves are going to compete in fighting category. We're competing against Shadow Machamp and other really powerful fighters. Eventually it was going to be Mega Heracross and Mega Lucario, which is not going to be a competition against this Pokemon. So there's no point to check it out in the fighting category. So let's check it out in the electric category to see, is it going to take over the top spot? Because just a reminder, over 40 in most categories is going to be in the top 5. But depending on the category, like Dragon, like now Flying, and Psychic, there's really strong Pokemon that push it way up there. Let's see where this sits. At the top, we still have the Shadow Raikou, which I love, Thundershock, Wild Charge, remember Wild Charge, that moveset at 44.46. Then we have Xurkitree, very close at 43.63 with actually Discharge. Then the Zekrom comes basically the exact same as the Xurkitree with the Fusion Bolt at 43.6. Then we have the Mega Manectric, which is actually lower, which is quite funny. As a Mega Pokemon, usually it's stronger than the others, but it sits at 43.28. Then we have Shadow Electivire, Shadow Zapdos, and then we have the Thundurus Therian form at 41.94, followed by the Shadow Magnezone, Shadow Luxray, and the Mega Ampharos. So if we're looking at this Pokemon, deductively reasoning it, there's Zekrom that's stronger than it, Xurkitree is stronger than it, so would I suggest you guys go over the top to raid for this Pokemon because of how powerful it is? My answer is no. Even if all of these Pokemon get the Shadow forms, they will still maintain the same order, just higher stat values, and they will go above the Shadow Raikou because as you saw, there's no Raikou regular in the top 10 attackers, just the Shadow ones at number 1. So whenever there is a Shadow Xurkitree, a Shadow Zekrom, and the likes, those Pokemon will be extremely strong as an electric attacker. So this Pokemon, while very cool looking, I think, Zekrom and Xurkitree would be your better bets for meta attackers. So would I suggest you guys go hard to raid for this to try to get the hundo, power up multiple of these? The answer here is going to be no, especially because it's premium XL candy. So if you are to get a premium XL candy invested Pokemon, you might as well get one that's going to be the strongest in the category, which is why we make these videos so you guys know exactly where these Pokemon sit. But this Pokemon still could have some pretty viable potential in PvP, so let's see where it sits. In the Ultra League, it's going to be ranked 262. But in the Master League, with the moveset of Volt Switch, Wildbolt Storm, and Focus Blast, it's going to be ranked 88. So it is in the top 100, but you got some steep competition here because you have Zekrom once again. So the top Electrics is 13th placed Zekrom. Zapdos is going to be 52 and 57 in the Shadow form, and Zapdos has the same typing as does the Therian Thundurus. 84 is the Shadow Raikou, and then 88 is the Therian Thundurus. So looking at this overall, guys, unfortunately, the Wildbolt Storm just doesn't stack up enough for me to recommend you guys to raid hard for this and to power multiple of these up and to have a team of this. With that said, I would love the 100% IV because I like electric Pokemon, so that is my incentive beyond just having a very relevant meta attacker. So for me, that's where I'm sitting right now, guys, but there is all you got to know about Therian Thundurus and Pokemon Go. So what are you guys gonna do with it? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you guys being here as always. To all of my likers, comment, subscribers, Patreon members. Everybody takes your support, subscription, and participation to 2x level. I'm gonna see you guys out on the next video. Peace. I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and raiding all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.